Hi everybody, it's Lynne Huysamen here from kaboki.com, and today I wanted to chat to you about how my daughter got me to stop smoking when she was 3 years old. I've already written the blog post for this, and it had a really good response, and I was quite surprised because I brought up something that I'm really ashamed about. And the reason why I brought it up is that I have spoken to a few moms that have gone through the same thing, and that is that I actually smoked while I was pregnant with both my babies. And you know, there's a lot of shame surrounding that for me, and that's not the way that I wanted to do it. It's not the way that it's not the kind of mother that I wanted to be. And you know, if you look at, I had a certain plan for my life, and I found that my life hasn't actually gone as planned. So, you know, the way I thought it would go when I was younger is that I would meet a man, I would date him, we would fall in love, he would propose romantically to me, and we would get engaged for a period of time, and then we would get married, and then we would plan our children. And during the stage of planning children, I would quit smoking in preparation of falling pregnant. But my life didn't go according to plan at all. It turns out that I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I spent 15 years wrecking my life. I was also a smoker, obviously, and I managed to get clean when I was 29 years old, and I smoked and I used drugs and alcohol from the age of 14 until the age of 29. And when I was 2 years clean, I met a man and I started to fall in love with him. And within less than 3 months of dating, I found out I was 4 weeks pregnant. So that was scary, and it was a long distance relationship. My life was just getting back on track. I was just sorting out the mess of my life. And I found out that I'm pregnant with a man that I am falling in love with, but if you only know someone for 3 months, you actually barely know them. So he did propose to me. It wasn't very romantic. He is a good man, and he is my husband now. And I moved town I was living in Cape Town, and I moved when we got married. So within a year of meeting each other, I was married, I had moved town, and I had a new baby. And I was also still in relatively early recovery from alcohol and addiction. 2 years may sound like not a very long time, but you know, looking back, I can look and I can see actually how rocky it was. And what happened when I found out I was pregnant, the first thing I did is go see my psychiatrist, because I'm also bipolar and I'm an alcoholic and drug addict. So I was on medication for my bipolar. I was on Epitech, 200 milligrams a day, and Seroquel, 50 milligrams a day. Now, Epitech is actually medication that's given to people with epilepsy. And if you get taken off it too fast, it's very dangerous. You can have an epileptic fit, as I understand it. And so what I did is I went to go see my psychiatrist, and I said, like, what do I do? I'm pregnant. I'm obviously going to keep the baby, and I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And he took me off the Seroquel immediately. The Seroquel was partly for bipolar, but also for, I suffer from insomnia. If I don't take my Seroquel, I literally don't sleep at all. So he took me off that immediately. And the Epitech, he weaned me off in a week. And it took, I think, about a month to put me on, or longer. So he took me off it as fast as he could. And he said, you know, it's about trying to find a middle road between my safety and the baby's safety. You know, if I relapse and take cocaine, the baby's at serious risk. So, you know, it was about trying to kind of keep me stable while keeping the baby safe. And I actually did quit smoking. I quit smoking for 2 days. And after 2 days, I think it was my mother, my psychiatrist, my counselor, my sponsor, everybody, my midwife, they all just said, please smoke. You're in such a state that you're going to damage the baby if you don't smoke, you know, and you could relapse on bipolar or your addiction. And of course, you know, if my bipolar gets out of control, then my recovery is at risk. And if my recovery is at risk, my bipolar's at risk. It all kind of feeds off of each other. So I smoked, and I felt awful, and I couldn't stop. I did try. I did try cut down a lot, which I managed to do, but I smoked while I was pregnant, and that feeling is really awful when you've just had a cigarette and you're walking around somewhere in public and you think that people can smell you when you've got this huge belly. It really is awful, and I've got my reasons for not quitting smoking, but just because I've got a certain set of reasons doesn't mean that another woman that's not an addict and has not got bipolar is not going to struggle. Cigarettes, it's a very, very strong addiction, and I don't think, even if I had all of my problems that I have, I don't think I would have been able to quit smoking if I fell pregnant by surprise like I did. I just don't think I would have had it in me. So that's the truth. I've got all my reasons and stuff, but I still think I would not have been able to quit smoking. So I really sympathize for all the moms that smoke while they're pregnant. I wanted to break the kind of pattern. My grandmother smoked while she was pregnant with all of her children. My mother smoked while she was pregnant with us, and then I smoked, and that's not what I wanted. Anyway, after I then had another surprise baby after my first one. I had a little boy, and I didn't quit smoking. I think I also tried for about 2 days, and going off all those medications, it was a roller coaster of note. It was really, really hard, and not sleeping as well. So I know other people. Most moms struggle to sleep maybe in the 3rd trimester, and they struggle to sleep in the first few months of their baby being born. With me, I couldn't sleep from the moment I stopped my meds. If I slept 3-4 hours a day, I was lucky. And so you can imagine, by the time my baby arrived, I was absolutely exhausted already. And then my daughter actually didn't sleep through the night until she was 3 years old. She woke up every 2 hours. So she's very much like me. She's got sleeping problems. And she also had night terrors, which I had as a baby. So yeah, it was a really rough start to being a mom, and my cigarettes stayed with me. But when my daughter was 3 years old, there's a few things that happened that helped me quit smoking. And I think, the thing with any addiction is you've got to do it for yourself. You can't really do it for anybody else, but other people can impact your decisions and can help you see, how strong the addiction is, and make you see that you don't want it anymore. And what happened when my daughter was 3 is she came up to me and she says, "Mom, I'm going to grow big, I'm going to wear your clothes, I'm going to have a baby, and I'm going to be a mom, and I'm going to smoke, just like you." And she had this look on her face like, I'm going to be so proud of her. And I thought, oh, no, that's awful. That's absolutely awful. Is this what I'm putting forward for my daughter? Is this what she's like aspiring to be because she's watching me and I smoke? And it was at that moment I decided that this is it. There's no more excuses. I don't want my daughter to smoke. And I mean, I can't control it. If she smokes, she smokes. But I can give her the best chance possible by me quitting smoking, so she doesn't look up to me as a smoker. And I made that decision. I spoke to my husband that night, and he was also a smoker. And I said to him, "That's it. I'm quitting smoking. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to do it soon. I'm preparing myself." And then what happened is, a few days later, or maybe it was a week or 2, I can't remember. My daughter came up to me again, and she said, "Come, Mommy, build a puzzle with me." And I said, "Sure, sweetie, in a minute. I'm coming now." And she said, "Oh, are you going to go save a cigarette?" And it wasn't in an accusing way. It wasn't anything ugly to it. But for me, it just made it clear to me how much damage my cigarettes were doing. And, when you smoke, you think it's only you. Okay, except when you're pregnant, of course. But, when our babies were born, we stopped smoking in the house. We stopped smoking in the car. I didn't smoke near my kids. And I thought that it's just affecting me, right? But then I saw this little girl looking at me knowing that if she wants something to eat, if she wants to watch a movie with me, if she wants to do a puzzle, anything she wants to do, yes, we'll do it. But first, mommy's going to smoke because my cigarettes are more important than you. And that's what my behavior was saying to my child. And that is when I set the date for me to quit smoking. I think I gave myself a couple of weeks. I think it was in September, and it was in August or September, so it was nearly 2 years ago that I made the decision. And I said, 1st of October, that's my day for quitting. And it's actually my mother's birthday, which is really cool as well. And my mother, she did smoke with us. And when I was in grade 5, my mom got TB and she nearly died. She was in hospital for weeks. She was very ill and she had to quit after that. And so it's quite nice that it was on my mother's birthday that I quit smoking. And that was in 2015. So it's nearly 2 years that I've been clean of cigarettes. And the most beautiful part for me was a few months ago, I was talking to my daughter and I said something about smoking. And she said, "What?" And I asked her, I said, "Oh, don't you remember? Mommy used to smoke." "What?" she says. "I don't remember that." And for me, that was, you know, you can look at your 1 year clean from smoking cigarettes and say, wow, for me, that was my milestone. That was my success point, where my daughter said, and I'm actually getting teary now, she actually said to me, she cannot remember me smoking. So, you know, and the way that I quit smoking is I followed my 12-step program. I went cold turkey. And I allowed myself to feel those cravings, and I didn't use patches, I didn't use anything. I ate a lot. I got quite big, and I'm still quite big. I'm going to work on that soon. But yeah, I drank a lot of coffee, I ate a lot of sweets, chocolates, cakes, whatever. But you know, I can feel within myself, I can feel that I'm healthier, I can feel I'm more present for my children, I can feel that I don't have a morning cough, I don't have this constant craving. You know, for a cigarette, you know, it's funny, like you think that when you quit you're going to crave, but it's actually when you're smoking, there's this constant wanting to smoke a cigarette, even when you've just smoked one. I don't have that anymore. I don't have that urge and that intense craving. Every now and then I get this like, hey, I feel like I smoke, and it's more like a, what? Where did that come from? And then it's gone. So, I mean, it's like 5 seconds, and it's more like a, huh? Weird. And it's finished. So I do still have a kind of the odd craving every now and then. But I'm finding that it's one of the best things I ever did. I am so happy that I quit smoking, and you know, I did do it for my daughter and for my son, but it was also for me, and I'm really, really happy. And if you want to quit smoking, you know, I can tell you right now that the worst part of wanting to quit smoking is not the actual quitting. It's beforehand and that panic of, oh my gosh, I'm going to just die if I don't have a cigarette. You're not going to die. You might feel like you're going to, but you're not going to die. And the cravings are bad. I struggled for a couple of months to get anything done. There was this constant like feeling of things not being quite right, of uncomfortability. And then for me, one of the scariest parts of it was because I'm a drug addict and because I'm an alcoholic, and I wanted to fill this craving, part of me said, like, doesn't matter, you don't need a cigarette, you can just like shove some cocaine up your nose or have a dope or something like that. And that for me was quite scary, and I had to keep a very close eye on that. Instead I went for the cakes and the coffee, which I thought was a bit safer. So I still need to address my weight issue, and I'm still drinking too much coffee, but I think that's a lot healthier than smoking 30 plus cigarettes a day. So if you want to quit, I hope that you get inspiration from this video. I hope that it gives you a bit of strength and motivation. And I have blogged on my addiction blog quite a bit about my journey of quitting smoking, and you can find that on my mommy blog, the links. And the link to this post will be below this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I hope to bring you some more awesome videos soon. Thanks.